Good morning, everyone. My name's Emily. I am a integrative healing practitioner, and today I want to discuss the 6 essential tests that I run in our program to help you heal your body. So we have 3 foundation labs that we start with. So this is your blood work, your organic acids test, and a genetic test. I like to personally use Ancestry. So the blood work that we're going to look at, we want to get a complete blood count. We want to look at your liver enzymes, how your thyroid's functioning. We want to address any vitamin deficiencies. We want to look at your homocysteine. We want to look at your iron and many more markers. The organic acids test shows us some really important markers for your body. So this is going to show us yeast, mold, bacteria, oxalates, ammonia, some detoxification markers, how your body is breaking down your neurotransmitters, how your body is breaking down proteins, nutrient deficiencies, and many more. And we're going to run a genetics test. So the genetics test is going to be really important to correlate with the organic acids test on what support you need for your neurotransmitters. There's some really important markers that we want to focus on for your brain, such as your COMT status. On the genetics, we're also going to be looking at some mutations for methylation, which is really important. Genetics test is really important for the support for your neurotransmitters. So we're going to correlate the genetics test with your organic acids test. So how your body is breaking down the neurotransmitters on the organics test will be correlated with the genetics on how we should be seeing the markers. So sometimes we see markers really low for things like serotonin, but based on specific types of genetic mutations, this is okay, and that's what we expect to see. But if we're not correlating that, people might look at that and think they need support when that might not be the case. So really important to correlate the two together. Really just important to know what type of support you can have. So if you've seen my other video on the detox pathways, you'll know that detox pathways have 3 phases. So we really want to make sure phase 1 and phase 2 are supported really well from the genetics testing before we go into phase 3. So really, really important. So the genetics testing plays a really big part in healing. So that is the 3 foundation labs, which is the blood work, the organic acids, and the genetic test. The 3 foundation labs are basically to repair, re-strengthen, and rebuild the body before we do any type of detox work. So after we have support on board of the 3 foundation labs, we would run a Dutch. So a Dutch is a hormone test, and what we're looking at on the hormone test is your sex hormones, your adrenals, and the metabolites, and how we're breaking everything down. On the Dutch test, also can see how your detox pathways are working. Also get a bit of a picture of how well the support's working for what we've been adding in for the foundation labs. After the Dutch test, we want to start doing some phase 3 detoxification. This is to really ensure that detox pathways are open and the toxins are able to freely get out before we go into gut work. It is really important to make sure your detox pathways are open before we go into gut work, otherwise the toxins are going to pile up and gut work is not going to be successful, and the last thing we want to do is add more toxins into your body. So when we go into gut work, I like to start with a para wellness. So before we do the para wellness, we go on a biofilm buster for 2 weeks. So we're doing a biofilm buster to make sure that any biofilms that have gone over the bugs are able to be worn down, and so when we do the testing, we can get a clear picture of what's actually going on within the body. When we start treatment for the para wellness, which is usually to kill protozoa, still going to be taking the biofilm buster. So we want to make sure that we are really wiping the bacteria out. These bacteria, they are actually really smart, and that's quite often when people do take antibiotics for things, they are not getting to the root cause of the issue because the little bacteria have filmed a biofilm over them and the antibiotics are just not getting within them. So really important to biofilm bust. Till we finish the protocol for protozoa, we are going to stay on the fibrorenza and we're going to run a GI map. So we stay on the fibrorenza, so the biofilms are staying open while we run a GI map. So if any bugs are in there, the same as before, we're able to see them. So when we're running a GI map, we're looking for things like H. pylori. We're also going to be able to see if we were successful in treating the protozoa. We're going to be looking for inflammation within the gut. We're going to be seeing more bacteria, some more yeast markers. We're also going to be able to see if we have a sensitivity to gluten. So I don't really like to go gluten-free, but if you were showing as you did have a sensitivity for gluten, this is when I would put my clients on a gluten-free diet, usually for around 3 to 6 months, sometimes more, depending on how it gets brought down after the protocols. The importance of going to gut work last is huge. So we really want to make sure, as I emphasized before, detox pathways are open before we go to gut work. I see a lot of people constantly thinking that they have issues with their gut or they might have digestive issues and they go straight in for the kill. And I personally did this myself, so I know that it doesn't work. I thought that I had candida when I had interstitial cystitis. I thought that was my root cause. I got really hung up on it and I tried to kill it for a very long time. Not only did I not have candida when I did run the test, but if I did have it, I would have been unsuccessful in treating it based on the fact that my detox pathways were not open. I was deficient in so many nutrients. I wasn't eating the right food. There was a lot going on. I had issues with my hormones. So really need to balance out all of those things first before we go into killing any gut bacteria, or we're just not going to be successful. And the gut protocols are lengthy. They're around 3 months. It's not something we want to be consistently doing. And after the GI map, you should be feeling really, really good. If for any reason you're still having any type of digestive issues, this is when we would run a SIBO test. So SIBO test is not in the 6 essential tests that I run, and that is just based on not everybody needs it. So more often than not, if you do have some digestive issues, by the time you've got into the stage, once you just start repairing the body and re-strengthening it and removing that internal and external stresses, your symptoms can dissipate. So I like to start there. If you are suffering some symptoms, then we will do a SIBO test. SIBO is small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, which is just bacteria in the wrong location, and it is good bacteria, but it is in the wrong spot, so we don't want it there. A SIBO protocol is again about 3 months, and it can be tricky to get rid of. Sometimes you need multiple rounds. This is why I do it last. And also with SIBO, if you haven't taken care of the other areas first, if you have protozoa, if you have yeast, if you have mold, we're not going to be successful in treating the SIBO. So this is the 6 essential test that I run. I know that it works. I've done it myself, and it's worked for many people. If you are suffering with any health issues and you do want to book a free health assessment, you can visit my website. I hope you found this information valuable.